All right, welcome in everybody to the Four Down the Field Fantasy Edition, Week 3. Let's do a recap of Week 2, Jeremy. We'll start off with my game against Drew. I didn't really have a good game with Jared Goff. Obviously, we all know what happened last week with that. But the bottom line is my team outside of Goff and Hurst really showed out, so I was able to pull ahead, and I like where my team's at right now. So keep it rolling.
And Drew continues to lose.
Yeah, we're gonna get to his matchup this week, but he has got to get into the win column for sure. Next game we'll talk about is Jax with Jeff. Jeff just hung 153 on the guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna really harp on Jack's team for going for 121 and a half. I mean, uh, Jeff just came to play his team right now with CMC being hurt and him getting Jordan Mason. His team really got good just overnight. I mean, wasn't even a bad team to begin with, but yeah, we all see what it's like right now for him.
Yep. Great pickup. Great draft
Yep,
or whatever he did.
yep, yep. Good job, Jeff. Alyssa fell to Shane last week. Alyssa only with 95 points. I kind of mentioned it last week. You know, she's putting a lot of pressure on Baker, who honestly had a good game, but also Isaiah Likely. Likely didn't even play, but he only got 4.6. I mean, she just didn't get anything from
Yeah,
the
the
wide
Ravens
receivers.
sucks.
Yeah, I mean, like the wide receivers. I mean, Deontay Johnson right now, like maybe with not having Bryce Young back there and having Andy Dalton, I believe it is, like throw the ball. Maybe that might be better for some wide receivers, but yeah, it's not a good situation down there, and Cooper's not looking good either. Shane had just a decent week, but I mean, the thing to talk about here is Alyssa's team and like where it's at right now. So, next game, it was your game, Jeremy. You can talk about it if you want. Jim beat you by 32. Did you freeze, Jeremy? All right, we're gonna keep rolling. It looks like we lost Jeremy. I'll do the recap. Oh, we might be getting Jeremy back. Uh, Sorry about that, everybody. Jim had a hell of a week. 143, almost 144. Jeremy 111. Probably not gonna win too many games. Not getting to at least 120. Jeremy, you're calling me right now. Hello.
Hey, it must have went out or something, huh?
No, I'm still rolling right now. I'm trying to carry the pod right now. We're actually recording right now. Jeremy, do you want to touch on your loss to Jim last week?
This meeting is being recorded.
Are you trying to reconnect?
Guess who's back? Back again.
Jeremy's back.
Jeremy's back.
Jeremy, we were just talking about your matchup with Jim last week. Do you want to talk about it was really just a really good win by Jim, but I was just saying like if you don't get to 120, it's going to be hard to win in this league. So, yeah, go ahead and talk about your matchup last week.
There's really not much. Jim dominated on Thursday night all throughout the entire weekend. So, yeah, I was cooked from the beginning.
Yeah, and you lost Cooper Cup. Yeah,
Fucking bitch.
it
Travis
wasn't a
Kelce sucks.
it wasn't a fun week for you. We're going to talk about your team though, unless you want to use this platform right now to discuss where you're at right now mentally in fantasy football.
Mentally and reality, my screen name right now says it. So 0-2.
0-2 down there in the corner if you didn't notice it. All right. Adam beat Bird last week in the Battle of Cousins. Adam's team's been showing out. However, we are going to talk about his team with what happened this past week with losing Pacheco. Obviously, Jordan Addison out. He might come back. But yeah, his team's banged up a little bit right now. But yeah, 145 is going to win you a lot of games. Bird with a solid week, just didn't get it done. But I do like Joe Burrow, what I saw against Kansas City. And we're going to talk about more of that too.
Yep, good job, Horn dude.
Yeah, and then Marty beat Brenna. Brenna's really hurting at running back.
Yep, she's gonna
That
need
that
to
running
stay
back that
adjusted.
that running back 2 spot for her is just really hurting her right now.
Yeah. I feel the same way too. So we got some teams with no running backs, basically.
She's got a lot of handcuffs. I was checking out her roster
Okay.
earlier, and she's got Trey Benson, she's got Jamal Williams, she's got uh, Justice Hill. Yeah, she's got some. Yeah, she's got some
Yeah.
handcuffs, but yeah,
Got
she's really hurting.
tradable starters, Jefferson being the primary.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to divorce like your first round draft pick, but he's a superstar, so you can get some pull there.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, so that wraps up last week's recaps. Let's dive into this week, Jeremy. All right. Jeremy, are you looking at the Jeff and Shane matchup right now?
Well, absolutely.
Let's talk about that matchup first.
All right. Well, first things first, against Shane. First team All Pro freaking fantasy name. Chublik Enemy. I love it.
Yes.
Great win. Way to bounce back. Rob and I both said you would lose, and you did not. So props to you, buddy. Just kind of doing a glance here. I think it's going to be a good matchup. Shane's going to have to find a tight end because Kittle's probably not going to play. So I'm going to probably roll with Jeff for that simple fact. I mean, I'm sure he'll pick somebody up, but like Jeff's team's pretty solid. I already picked Philly to win, so I think Hurts will have a good game, and that can really carry a team if he drops a 25 or 30 points, which and Stroud's capable of that as well. But I just think Jeff's got a pretty deep team. So, but Shane does too, but it's gonna be Jeff.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the rosters for this game, right? And
Yeah.
you already mentioned the tight end spot, but just looking at Jeff's roster alone, Hurts, Achan, Mason, Collins, Godwin, Goddard, Robinson. I mean, just a solid starting lineup. I mean, obviously, you see he's projected for over 140 right now.
Right.
Yeah, his team's super good. That addition with Jordan Mason, I mean, that could potentially be the move of the year. And it just happened so early and was so quiet, and he was so quick and sneaky and got that. Yeah, huge. But I will mention also that Shane, about an hour or so before this podcast started, Shane sent me a trade. He was trying to get Jonathan Taylor and send me Waddle and Jerome Ford. And it was a quick decline. I don't want anything to do with any Miami player right now, Shane. And Jerome Ford, yeah, he's getting a lot of workload, but the Browns offense sucks right now. So no, I'm not going to give you running backs are at a premium this year. I knew what I was doing when I was drafting. I'm not trading somebody like Jonathan Taylor for what might be a good situation if it goes the way that we all hope that it would. But no, a disrespectful trade decline for that reason. I'm taking Jeff. Moving on.
Moving on.
All right, let's talk about Adam against Drew here. Drew's 0-2. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs a win, kind of like the Ravens do in Dallas this week. And oh, look who's Drew's quarterback. It's Lamar Jackson. So that might go hand in hand if Lamar can go off and win at Dallas and Drew gets like a lot of points at quarterback. I know he's projected to win this matchup, but let me just go through this real quick. I'd rather have Kyler, I think, right now than Lamar in that game. Okay. I'd like Barkley over Charbonnet. I think Steele and Hubbard might be both like around the same ballpark.
Sounds like a couple porn stars.
Steele and Hubbard coming to you live. Metcalf in London. I like Metcalf there, I think. Flowers over Pickens. Obviously, McBride over Henry. But yeah, I'm just going down here. I like Adams' team, but if I look at Adams' bench, though, he has IR, Pacheco on IR. Ingram didn't play last week. Addison's out. I wonder how stressed Adam is that Pacheco is on IR. He's very thin at running back. He's hoping that Steele works out. this is critical times right now for Adam in a moment where Drew needs a win. I am going to go Drew in a desperation spot when Adam's team just took a blow last week with Pacheco. But yeah, this could go either way.
Yeah, I would agree. But here's why Drew will lose. CMC could be the worst draft pick of all time, unfortunately, Drew. Um, but that being said, probably the bigger concern is Drake London being your number one right now. That's horrible,
He didn't play bad last
unfortunately.
week.
Yeah, but I guess ultimately I'm just not a fan. I think right now his best receiver, might even be just Xavier Worthy, just because his explosive plays, but just
Yeah,
not a Drake London fan. Yeah, I guess you're right. He did have a touchdown, but
Drew
uh,
really didn't. Drew wasn't really able to get any really good wide receiver or running back outside of CMC, like being number one. Like he just did not get any premium, like really good players. In my opinion,
yeah,
that CMC injury is absolutely crushing. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Drew though, but
I'm
again,
picking
it's gonna
Adam.
be close.
Go horn, dude.
All right, next matchup. Brenna had Garrett Wilson go on Thursday night, got her 14,
Yep.
just over 14. She's playing Jim. Jim has risen to 2-0 after last week. His team's been putting up points. J.K. Dobbins has been doing pretty good around the football. It's been a surprise, but I think Adams could have a big game. He's playing at home against Carolina. I feel like that might be like a get right spot for him. I think he could have a big day there. AJ Brown's out for the Eagles in a game that I think could be high scoring, so Smith might have a good workload. And then I look at the other side. Obviously, Jefferson's back, and there is an injury designation. She's just hurting so bad at running back too. She needs somebody to go off. And like when I'm looking at her roster, like who do I think is going to be able to do that? I don't think it's going to be Richardson against Chicago, White against Denver, Justice Hill. I don't see where she's going to have like that huge thing, like maybe IU without Debo. For that reason, I'm going to go Jim, but Brenna's in a desperate spot. She needs a win also.
Yep. Wait, no Debo either. So no Debo, no Kittle, no CMC.
Yeah, so I mean, like Ayuk might
Roughly.
get a huge workload. I don't know if he'll be able to deliver, but he'll probably get a lot of targets. I'd imagine.
Yep. Well,
I
with
mean,
that
he
being
just got
said,
paid $30 million. You know,
yep. We'll see though. It's probably one of those situations where he got his payday and never know how quick the prime can go. But yeah, this is a game he needs to step up for the Niners and Brenna. But I'm gonna go with Jim. I was just looking at his team. He's got two top 7 running backs, two top 15 receivers. Kyle Pitts is like number 8. Like uh all of his players are in the top like 10 to 15 at their position or better. So Jim's pretty loaded. So I'm gonna think Lemary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow, and Jimmy needs to change his name.
I was just gonna say
For
Jim does
his
need to come up with.
2024 fantasy team to show.
Yeah, he needs he does. I wonder if he's just being patient, trying to think of the perfect one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I
But
just
but you're taking Jim. You know what? Jim's definitely interested in seeing what Tyreek Hill does without Tua. It's going to be an interesting
uh,
stretch of games there.
they
So
need a quarterback. Seattle's going to win that game. Miami needs something to happen.
they have Skylar Thompson, I think, playing. I think, but
Right. But like there's what is he, the 50th best quarterback? No offense, but
no, I'm
they,
with
they
you.
need a guy that's like number 35 or better. Or they're gonna
Yes,
suck.
yes. Just do Tyreek Hill and H-Hand Wildcat like the entire game.
Just they could.
That's what I'm saying. All right, next matchup. We're going to talk about Marty's matchup with Bird. Marty is 2-0. Bird is 0-2. You know, um, Marty already had Brees Hall and Stevenson go. When I looked at this matchup before Thursday Night Football, because I know that we were planning on doing it various different nights this week, but we're doing
Right.
it now. If we would have had this pod before that Thursday Night Football game, I would have said something along the lines of, I would only see Marty winning this game if his running back showed out for him. And Brees Hall did his part, but Stevenson did not. I think that's going to be the difference. Obviously, he got good production from Conklin and defense. Uh, Obviously, the projection is swinging towards Bird's way, and it should be because I like Burrow against Washington. I think Gibbs has to have a big role against Arizona. He's going to slide in Elliott, obviously, to probably, get Walker out of there, whatever. But I think the matchups he has with the advantage he's already got, I think he's going to get this win. So good luck, Bird. Marty, you're already 2-0. You're off to a good start so far this year.
Yeah, good job, Mark's the king, whose fantasy name will live on forever. But yeah, but I think that Bird gets a win here this week. Kind of what you said, only getting about the 18 and no, not even 20 points from his two backs. And then sliding in Elliott for Walker. Elliott could get a touchdown, but I expect Gibbs to have a good bounce back game. Uh, Brian Thomas Jr. has been pretty good. DJ Moore's all right. I mean, getting 15 points from Conklin or 14.3, that's huge. The Jets defense. So Bird looks like he's in cruise control to win this week.
All right, so Bird hopefully going to get into the win column for the first time this year. In this next matchup, we have two teams trying to get into the win column for the first time this year. Jeremy, it's your matchup against Alyssa.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me how your team's going to get in the win column.
Well, I need Jaden Daniels to do a number. I need a good 20-something point performance. I got no running backs, talking about a team that has no running backs. I guess Amon Ra doesn't have an injury designation, so I guess that's good. But yeah, he was limped off the field at the end there. Selfishly, I want Marvin to suck, but he could do okay. Honestly, my team blows. Cooper Kupp getting injured that did not help. Now I got to figure out a flex. Travis Kelce hasn't done diddly poo. He's too busy hanging out with the Swifties. So, yeah, I need a good performance from my quarterback, I think.
Well, yeah. You said a lot of the things I was going to say. Obviously, your running back situation is not good.
It's horrid.
Your flex position also right now. I mean, yeah, your team took a beating this past week. There's no doubt about that. Hawkinson, obviously, you drafted him, but
Just for hopefully weather a storm through 6 weeks and
well,
maybe
no,
he'll
I'm
be
with you.
viable.
I'm with you, but you got good wide receiver in St. Brown and Harrison, who Harrison showed last week that he could just dominate, and who knows what he could do going forward. But yeah, like Alyssa already kind of touched on her team. I still think there's a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield and just who she has in her starting lineup right now. Like she has no room for error in my mind. Like Cooper's been non-existent. Deontay Johnson basically the same. Baker has a tough matchup. Swift hasn't really got it going yet. Mark Andrews hasn't really got it going yet. I mean, like she needs to win, just like you do.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with you, Jeremy, just because I think the players that you have like on your roster, I think there's certain players that have a higher chance to like have a big ass game that could propel you to win it. I think it's gonna be super close. This honestly is a coin flip. It can't really get much closer, I don't think. But I'm gonna go with you just for the fact that I think you have players that can maybe boom. So I'm gonna go with you.
Well, thank you. I'll pick myself for pity because I'm going to have a victory. So good luck, Alyssa.
Oh, Jeremy, cheer up.
Go
All
State,
right.
baby. Woo!
God dang. All right, and that takes us to the last matchup of the week. It's my matchup. It's rival week in my mind. It's me against Jack.
Oh, ho,
Ask me
ho.
about my albatross. I'd rather not. It's Debo's RBs are us rolling into your city, setting up shop and taking your money. I got me in this matchup. I like my team. I've been saying it. I like how I drafted the running backs. I already mentioned they're at premium. I know that I can trade them to get wide receivers. I like where I'm at though. Debo's obviously out, but I think I'm gonna be able to get through this week. James Conner, I don't know what he's gonna do against the Lions defense. The Lions shut down running backs. Brian Robinson Jr. is playing a tough Cincinnati defensive line and defense in general. We haven't seen much out of Olave yet. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with me. I like my team. I like Kamara against Philly. You know, I like it all, baby. And I'm not gonna ask you about your albatross. Ask me about my bogey. And Jeremy, who do you think wins this matchup?
This is a tough one. I think you've made a lot of very valid points. The question is, do I give it to Jack if they're giving him so much praise early on for his voodoo magic? I
Hmm.
guess he did somehow get what Samuel out of your lineup, but yeah, this is going to be a great matchup. I mean, Jack has a high predicted score. Obviously, Josh Allen can drop a 40 burger, so um, pretty tight matchup. Kamara has been great. Obviously, the last game he played. I'm gonna go with you, Rob. A close one. The
I
game
do
of the
want to
week.
I do want to say this real quick too. Week 1, Jack played Drew. Jack only won because CMC did like that phantom, like I'm not actually playing BS, like right before kickoff. And then last week he did lose, but he also Achan had injuries going into. He played and he actually had a really good game, but now he's playing me and Debo's out. I don't know who he plays next week, but just be cautious this week with your players, man. Rest them. You don't want them getting hurt. But yeah, I am gonna take me. But I mean, Jack has a good team. He hasn't had a bad week yet. I mean, like in the game that he should have lost to Drew, I think he was still in 130 range or something like that. And last week he had 122, so he hasn't really had a dud. His team looks good, but I'm gonna go with me.
Yep, well said, Debo.
You betcha. And I'm gonna go over the power rankings real quick. It's actually pretty similar to what ESPN
Ooh,
has.
Rob's ready.
I do have Jeff at 1. That is the same as what the app shows for Jeff. Number 2, I actually do have Jim. The app has him as number 2. Number 3 is Adam. I would be okay with that. I'd be either, I think I'd be at 3 or Adam at 3, and then whoever wasn't would be 4. So that's fine. And then number 5, right now, that is Marty. And I have no argument with that. I don't think he wins this week, but I'm okay with that. I would probably put him and Jack like right there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that basically we got 5 teams 2-0, 5 teams 0-2, and 2 teams at 1-1. Pretty insane. Seems like the league's top heavy. Uh, yeah, I'm going to agree with your power rankings for this week.
Nice. We don't typically agree all the time, Jeremy.
I know. Well, you said it well, Roberto.
All right.
This is
On
a
a real
fun
note,
week.
though, on a real note, the Lions need to bounce back this week. Like they do not want to fall to 1-2 because I believe in the game after this week. I think we play Monday Night Football against the Seahawks. I want to say.
Yep, the retiring Calvin's jersey or whatever
I
at
know, but that's
Ford
always a
Field.
tough game. That's always a tough game for us. Seattle has our number, so we need to win. We don't want to go into that game, on a 2-game streak. So hopefully we can bounce back for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, Jeremy, it's been a pleasure talking to you again, my friend. We'll do this again
Yes,
next week and discuss what happened in Ann Arbor and what happened uh, over in the desert. But you take care. I'll be talking to you this week and hopefully hearing some shit talk on Sunday during Red Zone, which you don't have.
I know. No PlayStation, no red zone.
It's okay. It's okay. Maybe one of us can stream it for you.
There we go.
All right. Till next week, Jeremy.